You're going to do an opening statement.
Hello, my name is Darrell Hale. I'm your current Collin County Commissioner for Precinct 3. For those of you who don't know me, I live in McKinney with my wife and my 4 daughters. I go to my church homes, Our Lady of Angels Catholic Church, just down the street from here. I'm a West Point grad. I spent 15 years in the telecom industry after getting out of the military. And then I had 5 years that I worked as a small business owner, where I started up a business in the Allen Fairview area, and then later sold it off. I have been endorsed by Texas Values. I've been endorsed by Texans for Fiscal Responsibility, Texas Right to Life, Texas Homeschool Coalition, US Impact, DFW PAC, Collin County Association of Realtors, Grassroots America, plus over 50% of the precinct chairs. Both the state senators in the county have endorsed me, as well as the state reps, the sheriff, 3 of the constables, county clerk, district clerk. So just a slew of support from both grassroots and different vetting groups. And I really want to continue in this job. I want to earn your vote tonight. Hopefully you'll get a sense of really who I am from my questions.
Thank you. Steve?
Hi, I'm Steve Terrell, and I've been married to my wife Sally for 43 years. I've been an independent businessman in Allen, Texas. I opened my cleaners in 1986. Basically, in that particular situation, I write a payroll every week and support all of my employees at that point. I've lived in Allen, Texas for over 39 years. I've been in the Republican Party in Collin County for almost 25 or 26 years at least. I've been a great supporter of Lincoln Day Dinner for many, many years. I wanted to run for county commissioner for the simple fact is I want to take all of my 23 years of knowledge as a mayor of the city of Allen, and I want to take it to the county level at this time. I've been a part of the North Central Texas Council of Government, a past president. I've also been on the Regional Transportation Commission for since 1997. I think that's going to be a big plus for the county itself overall, because that gives me all my road knowledge to help bring in and support the $12 billion worth of roads we're going to need in Collin County in about the next 50 years. So also that I'm talking too fast. That's what's wrong. I got to slow down. But anyways, that's some of the reasons that I'm running for the commissioner seat at this time, and I guess I'll give it back.
Thank you. Now questions. I'm going to skip that first one. It was too easy. So we'll go to the next one. My friend in the back in the hat has a white piece of paper and a red. He's going to hold up that white one, and you have 30 seconds left, and hold up red when you have time, when your time is out. We'll go with Mayor. Mayor, what are the core functions of the Commissioner's Court, and what is your philosophy on properly managing those spheres? Core functions of the Commissioner's Court, managing those spheres.
I would say the basic core function of the Commissioner's Court is to set the budget for the county overall and to set it physically responsible as at all. I will tell you that the also it handles also energy care, some of the mental health things and things of that nature. But the core function is also part of the transportation side, which we're very short on, is the roads and things of that nature. That is the core function of the Commissioner's Court.
All right, Commissioner.
So budget's definitely first and foremost. Our budget's set, and we cover multiple different parts of the county budget. All the other elected officials in all the departments are underneath our budget. So county sheriff, all the judges, constables, JPs, all that falls underneath the Commissioner's Court. And transportation makes up about 20% of our budget each year, and that goes to the 727 miles of county roads that we have that we maintain. We are not responsible for any of the farm to market roads, nor are we responsible for any of the highway infrastructure. The commissioners themselves are responsible for the county roads in their area. We also have indigent healthcare and indigent defense responsibilities that are tasked to us by the state. and we take care of those very well. It should be noted that we do that all at a tax rate that's the second lowest in the state, and actually is, we're doing that less than what even the hospital district that's set up in the county of Dallas. So if we had a similar setup to Dallas, we would be double the tax rate. So we do a very good job keeping things conservative and providing great services at a very low cost to the taxpayers.
Well done on being judicious with your time, gentlemen. Thank you. Commissioner, why are you more qualified than your opponent, and what do you bring to the table that they do not? And I assume that both of you have an answer to that since you're running against one another.
So I believe that I bring a unique perspective in that, I've got the military experience, and I was educated at probably one of the best leadership institutions in the world. It was the first engineering college that was actually established by Thomas Jefferson in the United States. And the bulk of the country, their roads, their bridges were built by West Point engineers. And West Point graduates and officers have always been problem solvers. And that's the thing that I really love the most about this job, is being a problem solver and being able to address any problem, no matter how small to how big, when they come in. So great education. I've also been in corporate telecom for 15 years. I had that experience dealing with very, very large contracts, $100 million plus. I was a global account manager, global account director, so I've dealt with multinational companies and have that experience as well. And going all the way down to the small end, I started and ran my own small business for 5 years, built it up to the largest in our franchise chain, and then I sold it off. So I've had both small business, large business, and fantastic leadership experience that I'm bringing right now to the Commissioner's Court.
Mayor?
Well, I will tell you that, one, I've been mayor of the Allen for 23 years. That makes me, I led the city from I will call it a Mayberry to where it is today, over 100,000 people. Those skills alone, and also my small business ability for over 39 years gives me the ability to be a lead. Also, I feel like I'm a great listener to people. I'm more of a listener, a coordinator, gathering information, and then coming back together with a consensus. I'm a consensus builder. And overall, I do believe that in that point of it, that I'm a little, I can take those skills to the Commissioner's Court and help guide it to a better location at this time. I don't know really what I would tell you that I hate doing this kind of stuff about battering somebody else. I'm not running against Darrell Hale. I'm running for the seat of the county commissioner itself. Unfortunately, everybody wants me to batter him. I think I would be more of an outgoing. I can get out and talk to people. I get out and about and talk and do things of that nature all the time. So anyways, that's my answer.
Thanks. And note that I didn't ask anyone to batter, and I won't, but you can choose how you respond to those questions. But there's not an invitation to attack one another. It's your choice.
Well, thank you.
Certainly.
I'm with you.
You guys are doing great on time, and you mentioned small business, so I'll do an audible. What small business did you have that you'd be probably interested to share?
Dry cleaning and laundry business.
Okay, I'll ask the same question to you, Mr. Hale.
Yeah, I had a couple painting franchises that were both in Allen and Fairview, and then extended into McKinney and Frisco.
Okay, interesting. 2 small business owners. Okay, I don't remember who was last. Commissioner, did you support passage of SB 2? Let me know if you don't know what that is. Which called for a trigger in taxing entities for an election, and why or why not? And do you currently support its existence, SB 2?
Absolutely. If you're not aware of what SB 2 is, it set tax cap triggers that if you raise taxes over a certain amount, it would automatically cause the ability for you to have a vote on it. The Commissioner's Court passed a unanimous resolution. I went down along with Judge Chris Hill, and we testified on your behalf to support SB 2. I had done my own polling inside my precinct, and it was over 90% that supported passage of SB 2 at the 2.5% level. It actually went up a little bit from that, but I supported it at the 2.5% level, as did a large majority of my precinct.
I will tell you, I didn't go down and speak for or against SB2, but I do support SB2. The city of Allen was already headed to be underneath the 3.5 cent. It could have been under 2.5 cent, but I do wholeheartedly support the SB2 bill.
And a follow-up to that, Mayor, I think it's your turn. So on that note, do you support and would you pursue an effective tax rate as commissioner? And you can, if that's not the case, explain what you would pursue as commissioner. Do you support, would you pursue an effective tax rate as commissioner?
I would absolutely support and pursue the effective tax rate as commissioner. And I will tell you, the city of Allen, this last budget session actually got close to the effective tax rate. We missed it by 0.2%, which I was very sad. There were 2 council members. There was 1 mayor and 1 council member that wanted it, and 5 that did not want the effective tax rate. So in fact, so we have to go with the majority of that, but I will tell you, the city of Allen is in great shape, and we were headed to the effective tax rate. But I do support it, and I do think it's the best way to go.
Okay, let me clarify real quick, because I don't know if I understood you. There was a vote in Allen City Council
For the budget.
for the budget
itself.
Right. So you opposed the budget, or
No, sir. No, sir. I would never oppose the budget. You have to go into the budget unanimously, in my opinion. But I did support trying to get to the effective tax rate.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, I voted for the effective tax rate. That is the standard that we've set in Collin County, that we are focused on the effective tax rate. Unless there is a really just massive emergency, that is the way it's going to stay. I would vote against a budget that does not have the effective tax rate.
Well, that somewhat preempts my next question, but you guys can dig into this a little bit more. And why we ask this is just not any candidate forum. This is a candidate forum by McKinney Tea Party, which means we ask conservative questions. So to that end, I believe it's Commissioner's turn to respond to this. Would you pledge to oppose any annual budget increase above 3.5%? Understand what 3.5%, that is the current trigger. Would you pledge to oppose any annual budget increase above 3.5% as commissioner?
Yes.
Yes.
Now you guys can elaborate if you want, but that's a declarative statement.
Yes, there would be no reason for us to go above 3.5%. We have kept the effective tax rate in the county for 4 years in a row. I don't foresee in the near future us having to go above that ever.
Okay, Mayor?
I too would say that you'd never have to go above the 3.5%. I think since the Collin County cities have done such an outstanding job in generating such wealth and within the county itself, as long as we can keep that motivated, I think we'll always stay below the effective tax rate.
Okay, I have 2 more questions. You guys have been very judicious with your answers. I appreciate that. So I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to ask you to ask your opponent a question as well. And we talked about that, so give you a chance to dialogue among one another. My potentially last question is, in the last 5 years, you guys are both elected officials. Have you voted for or supported a tax increase above 3.5% in the last 5 years? So you just now talked about the 3.5%. I think you both said that you would oppose that. So in the last 5 years, have you supported or voted for a tax increase above 3.5%?
I would tell you, just guessing off the top of my head right now, I would have to say that from the city standpoint, that I have supported that because it wasn't a rating before. And the city of Allen was not going, at that point, was not able to stop its massive train from going, and it didn't have enough economic base in years to pass to support going down in our tax rate. I would say that Allen probably averaged about a 3.8% tax rate overall, which is generally pretty good for a city overall. But I can't, to be honest with you, I would say no, we've been over 3.5.
Thank you. Commissioner?
I've never voted to raise taxes.
You've only been there for.
Okay. What was that, Mayor?
I said, never mind, just go on.
Well, I think you mentioned his tenure in office. That's a good question. How many budget cycles have you voted on?
I've been through one budget cycle. I've never voted to raise taxes.
Okay. All right, and with that, I believe it might be the mayor's turn. Mayor, if you'd like to ask the commissioner a question, and then you'll have an opportunity to, he'll answer and you'll have an opportunity to rebut that.
Well, I don't think there'll be very much of a rebuttal on this particular question. It's
Whatever you
more
like.
kind of thought. I know that a lot of times Darrell talks about different things about cities and their tax rates and everything else. I do know that Darrell does live in McKinney, Texas, and they missed the effective tax rate by a long shot. And my question to Darrell would be, if you had the magic wand, what would you take out of the budget? Since you got basically some of the best police officers, fire departments, things of that nature, probably down to a 5 to 6% response time from your police, public safety volunteers, what would you cut out of that deal to get to the effective tax rate?
So if I, and I'll put it into Allen terms, if I was in Allen, I probably would have not advocated for, large structures that are artwork, or I would not have gone for maybe as elaborate recreation centers, because having larger recreation centers generates more maintenance and operations costs, and that's what really impacts you year over year. So even shrinking those by just a little bit would have allowed Allen to actually reach that effective tax rate this last year.
Okay, and a rebuttal? You can respond.
What?
You can respond if you like.
No, I think I'll just pass.
Okay. Commissioner, ask the mayor a question.
Do you know what year it was the last year that you have not raised taxes?
What year it was, the last year I did not raise taxes. What year it was, the last year I did not raise taxes. I would say that we did not raise taxes from, wow, that's a very good question. Let me see, since I've been on the council since 1991, and everybody realizes that in the year of 1991, what the economy was like, and how bad it was, and how Resolution Trust was basically owning everything, and cities around were just trying to maintain a life, and they were laying off people. I would say that the last time that I ever raised the taxes was probably 1992, because of the economy and the downfall of the overall.
A rebuttal?
Yeah, it was close. It was a different downturn, but it was 2009. You accidentally didn't raise taxes one year. But that's the one thing that I think is different about Collin County is that we actually have a standard of effective tax rate. So there's high likelihood that we will remember those exceptional years when we actually have to go over the effective tax rate.
All right, and then we're going to do one more. We're actually a little ahead of schedule. We're going to do a lightning round after that. You remember what that is. So this is somewhat of a softball. You shared several of your endorsements. If you want to share that, Mayor, in your closing statement, you can as well. There's 4 commissioners and a judge. I'm sure you both know and you've worked with them for years. If you would like, name either a commissioner or a judge or another sitting elected official in Collin County with whom you greatly admire and with whom you agree with philosophically, perhaps would mirror them. It doesn't have to be a commissioner or judge. It could be another elected official in the county. And I believe it's the commissioner's turn to respond to that. So what I'm asking you is identify someone whom you greatly admire and respect and generally agree with philosophically. It can be a sitting commissioner or judge or another elected official.
Yeah, so I do really admire Chris Hill, Judge Chris Hill. He was in Precinct 3 prior to me and did a fantastic job working in Precinct 3. Philosophically, he's very, very conservative, as am I. And, we see eye to eye on a lot of things. We disagree sometimes about, kind of things around the edges, but For the most part, he has a very analytical mind. He really looks at the numbers. I mean, he's a certified fraud examiner, so I really admire those mathematical skills, having been a geodesy major myself, which is mathematical applications as applied to the Earth's surface, if no one knows what geodesy is. I admire that viewpoint. So whenever we have discussions and I can't really explain something using the English language, I can go and I can work up a spreadsheet or some numbers and actually present that to him, and he'll get it right off the bat. So just the analytical mind that he presents along with his conservative nature is what I admire.
Too bad he didn't hear that praise. He's not here tonight. All right, Mayor?
Well, I would tell you that you're going to be shocked at this. I would tell you that one of the people that I do admire in the Collin County politics was Keith Self. I think Keith is true blue. I think he stands true. He stands to his reason. He always knew where he was coming from. He always knew where his point was. He was very honest, truthful. He's a great leader, by the way, of the county overall. I think he did a great job. He brought a lot of people together at different times. I served with Keith as president of the North Central Texas Council of Governments. He served on the board with me. I got to where I admired Keith a lot in different things. I think Keith was a great leader, and also, I really do. I think Keith did a great job for the whole county itself. And he brought the commissioners, and he also brought a lot of the cities together at that time.
Excellent. Well, I agree with both of those. Let's do a lightning round. There's only 7. They're relatively painless. And this is what we're going to do. So for consistency, Commissioner, Mayor. Every one of them, Commissioner, Mayor. So people can remember what you said. Have you ever been arrested or charged with a felony?
No.
No.
Have you ever committed a felony or been convicted of committing a felony?
No.
No.
I've done a lot of these. You'd be surprised by the answer sometimes. Have you voted for a Democrat candidate at any level in the last 10 years?
No.
Never in my life.
All right. We'll excuse that breach of one-word answers. Have you failed to vote in a primary or general election in the last 10 years? And let me just clarify why I ask. You're in a primary. You're asking people to vote for you in a primary. That's why I believe it matters.
Yes.
No.
You'll have fun with this one. Do you personally believe your opponent is fit to hold this elected position?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Yes, that question's coming up later. And lastly, if you would use a 1 or 2 word self-identifier. Self-identify your political party or political system. Republican, Democrat, Independent, Conservative, Liberal, Socialist, Maoist, whatever you like. 1 word to define your political philosophy.
Texas conservative.
That's 2. 1 or 2, I said. Keep. Okay.
A Republican conservative.
Excellent. And I believe, did Mr. Hale start with his opening statement? Yes. Okay, so we're going to go to a closing statement by actually, we'll say, Mayor, you can choose to go first or last since he went first last time. All right, you can go first, sir.
Well, I guess you've heard us talk a lot about it. I do want to have my experience go up to the Commissioner's Court. I think I can do that, and all my past experiences from the North Central Texas Council of Governments and everything else, I take that experience up there. I think I can work with people in all different kinds of ways. I work with the citizens. I think I want to bring a little unique perspective and work a little bit more with the cities and the county working together, which gives us more of a benefit for all the citizens within Collin County also. I'll make myself real short because I know there's you guys, but I'd love to have your vote coming up in the new election, especially on March 3rd, if you don't mind, and during early voting also. But I also want to say that you can look up more information on me at steveterrell.org.
as you think about who you are going to vote for in this Republican primary, you have to look at who you believe is going to be the most conservative candidate, who is going to uphold the principles of the Republican Party and really hold the Democrats' feet to the fire. There's been many instances in the past few years where someone that has said they were going to be conservative on something, but they weren't. They let you down. They voted for tax increases. They didn't put forth a bill. They didn't do what they said they were going to do. I believe that I have actually done everything that I've said I would do: hold to the effective tax rate, communicate effectively, and represent you down in Austin on bills that matter to you. And so I fulfilled on my campaign promises to you previously, and I fully intend to again. I've received all the conservative vetting group endorsements. I've received all the issue-based and non-Republican aligned vetting group endorsements to date, as well as our whole Collin County delegation of state senators and representatives. And I feel like that is going to be the most important going forward, because as a county commissioner, we don't do anything unless we're empowered by the state to do it. So the relationships, we have great relationships with the county. I was out just a few days ago working with the city of Lucas on a street project. But you have to have the ability to go to the state.
That's your red marker, sir. Wrap it up.
A vote Hale yes come February 18th.
And with that, gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause.